He's editor-in-chief of Breitbart News and a New York Times best-selling author. And on this podcast, he brings deep research, prescient analysis, and world-class guests. He's Alex Marlow, and this is the Alex Marlow Show.
Welcome to the Marlow Show. I'm Alex Marlow. Thank you for being here with me. We got a newsy show today. A lot of clips, a lot of headlines to get to. And I like when there's a lot of variety. There'll be a lot of variety today on the show. And then we got some good stuff planned for you for the rest of the week. Mike Benz is going to be here. Missy, I haven't even told you about that. Mike Benz is coming. He's very popular. And we'll do something with Nolte, I think, on Friday. I think that'll be the plan. So, and I'm headed out to the Turning Point Student Action Summit. So if you're there, try to say hi. I'll be around. But I will say I got a fun treat, a gift from friends of the show, the American Beverage Association. You guys heard our interview with Kevin Keene last week, and he sent me something unbelievable. He sent me these adorable little Coke bottles. I'm holding them up on my set. And so I got these. I got 36 of them, so 3 6-packs. But I want to show you something. And this is what happens when you're in a position of deep power, like the editor-in-chief of Breitbart, podcast host. Okay, so I'm holding the Diet Coke up. Watch as I'm rotating it. What is that? Is that the presidential seal? The commemorative inauguration of President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, January 20th, 2025. Cokes. I got them. I always thought that was one of the coolest marketing plays I'd ever seen, that they sent the custom Diet Cokes for Trump. And that's how you do great marketing, is it now is basically the biggest ad ever that I've ever done. And it's for Diet Coke and it's for the American Beverage Association, all because of their brilliant branding. It's the pretty cool stuff. Yeah. You know what? That's a great idea. So I'm told the Misty is calling for Marlow Show commemorative Diet Cokes. They might be able to pull this off. I'm told they're going to come on board as a sponsor of the show, the American Beverage Association. So hopefully that's coming up soon, and we're going to have to develop that relationship. You do get some perks here, and I like the perks. I do like the perks. I don't focus on them, but they're nice. But we're going to have to find a nice spot here on the set. I don't know where it's going to be, but we're going to have to find some good space. I don't want to totally derail the show, but let's put one right here in front of Breaking the Law, right there for today. That's where it'll be. But we're gonna have to find some of these for the show. And I'm happy to be there. Happy to have it. Thank you guys, the American Beverage Association and Kevin Keene, for these celebratory commemorative Donald Trump Diet Cokes. I will say, I got a new sponsor to the show today that I want to introduce to you that is in a similar vein. Crockett Coffee. You may have heard of Crockett Coffee. A good coffee there's a lot of good coffee out there, but it is really hard to find great coffee. And I was sent a sample of Crockett Coffee, and I immediately introduced it to the rotation. I would not endorse. I'm a huge coffee guy. I'm constantly drinking coffee. You guys who watch my shows know I usually have a coffee going at some point. I would not endorse a coffee that I would not drink myself and give my wife, who is an Italian. So knows her coffee. Crock Coffee is great. Roasted perfection, small batch, on purpose, by experts who love the taste of great coffee. I will tell you, there are other right-wing coffee companies that are out there that do not taste good. I don't need to call them out by name, but some of you have had them. This is great. This is terrific coffee. And it comes by way of our friends Buck Sexton and Clay Travis. They were the ones who started the company, and they just did a terrific job. These beans are delish, and you can get them whole bean, ground, K-cups, if you like that sort of thing. There's dark roast, a mild roast, a light roast, a decaf, and a mushroom organic blend. That's the new hotness now, the mushroom coffee. Have not tried that. I'm going to have to ask for a taste of that. But I've done the mild and the dark. I'm a dark guy, so the dark roast for me, that's where it's at. Mild was very good as well. But I went through both. The dark roast I went through instantly. So living with an Italian, you get an affinity for dark roast. It's terrific stuff. And a portion of the purchases go to support Tunnel to Towers Foundation, because the good people at Crockett Coffee pledge to never forget. So good stuff there. CrockettCoffee.com, like Davy Crockett, CrockettCoffee.com. Use my first name, Alex. You get 20% off your first order. So CrockettCoffee.com, and use the name Alex as your promo code, 20% off. And you guys know that I would not be endorsing it if it wasn't good. That is one thing with the consumables, guys. If you ever hear me bring a consumable to your attention, you have my full trust that I would not tell you to buy something that tastes bad or is not good for you. So that's it. Okay, cool. Good stuff. Let's get into the news. I want to start with, I'll bring up something because we're going to have Ben's on. We'll do more, but I'm pretty jacked up about this Douglas Mackey case. Second Circuit Court of Appeals throwing out his conviction for lack of evidence. He was the guy who put memes up. It was a joke about getting people to vote, I guess, on the wrong day in 2016 or vote from home, which you can't do by text message. It was clearly a joke. And yet he was literally thrown in jail over a meme. And Trump would have pardoned him, I think, if he had asked, but he didn't want to get pardoned because he wanted to restore the precedent that you are allowed to make jokes. We have free speech in this country. You're allowed to meme. You have a right to bear memes. And that's what happened. So he was thrown in jail, didn't request a pardon. He wanted the precedent that the right to meme is protected under the First Amendment, and now it is. And so terrific stuff, great stuff from Douglas Mackey. I had interviewed his lawyer during the case. We've been covering this, of course, from the start. This dates back to 2016, and good for him, good for America, great stuff there, and very happy about that. The right to bear memes has been restored. So I'll bring that up with Ben's also because he's really good on internet freedom, and we need to do a major check-in on how internet freedom is going. We need to be constantly vigilant and diligent when it comes to internet freedom. So good stuff there. Speaking of internet, Linda Yaccarino, the CEO of X, is stepping down, I guess. I will say, X is fine. I'm on it. I use it. It's useful for the show. We get clips from it, but I have very much a love-hate relationship with that platform. It does feel like it's become a bit of a bubble. There are a lot of rules that get your stuff demoted in the algorithm or promoted, depending on what you do. And just even though Musk bought the platform, paid a fortune for it, he can do whatever he wants with it. It does feel like the Elon Musk advertisement platform, which is, I understand it. I don't know. I don't love it. I don't think that the changes to X have been that great. I kind of like the good old days where I could use it, where the left would feel like it was a safe space for them to say stupid stuff, and then I could mine it for content that way. So I do miss that. And I used to feel like I could get more regular establishment news from the platform. Now I don't feel like I get anything of use from the platform aside from a few right-wing accounts that post clips there. So look, I'm on it. I use it. We're good at it at Breitbart. It's not our best platform. We're the best in politics on Facebook and Instagram, other than maybe Fox, but I think we're the biggest. And I think we're still, the sixth biggest publication on X, the Everything app. So, it's been good to us overall, but what are your thoughts? You can email me, aloha@alexmarlow.com. I love reading your emails. I haven't had a lot of time to read many of them on the show lately, but I do love reading them. So feel free. Linda Yaccarino was I think sort of a lib, but she, under her watch, the platform got more friendly towards us. So that's fine, but I'm not just a knee jerk, X is so great guy. So I welcome any takes you have. All right. So I've been going around and talking to people, and more people are deeply concerned that their retirements are starting to crumble. They're looking at their 401k, and it probably lost money this year. The average accounts dropped 3% in the first quarter alone, and that was before the next wave of market chaos that's rolling in. And while your savings could be sliding in some of those old-timey formats, gold is not. Gold is rocking it. I was just looking at it earlier today, and gold is up today as I'm recording this. It is up a couple percent over the last 5 days. It is up over 25%, pushing 26% just this year. Year over year, gold's up 42%. I mean, just wild stuff. Gold is where it's at in terms of growth right now. Silver also hit a 13-year high, climbed more than 20% this year. This isn't a theory. It's happening right now, and people are waking up. More Americans are moving their retirement out of Wall Street and into real physical assets that actually hold value when everything else starts falling apart. That's why my friends at Priority Gold, great partners, the original sponsor of the Alex Marlow Show, put together a free wealth defense guide. It walks you through how to move part of your IRA or 401k into physical gold and silver. No taxes, no penalties, just a smarter way to take control of your future. Text the word freedom to 24999 to get your free copy. That's the whole number, 24999. You text the word freedom, they will get it to you. You could also go to prioritygold.com/freedom right now to get your free guide. It's prioritygold.com/freedom, because hoping it gets better is not a plan. You can take action now with my friends at Priority Gold. And one other tech thing before we get into more political things. But Microsoft has applied to fill thousands of foreign worker positions in the months before mass layoffs. There's a report from the Washington Examiner. Good stuff on this one, but it's noteworthy because there was a big layoff round at Microsoft. But what we're learning that they're going to do is they're just going to try to replace their workers with foreign workers. So they're going to try to replace Americans with cheaper foreigners. And it's important to note this in the context of Elon Musk and his new political party, his America Party, where he is essentially going to make it about H-1Bs and unlimited white-collar immigration, because that helps him get smarter people from around the world to work on his companies, which are American companies, and to do work for cheaper than Americans would do it, but with the freedoms and the economic backbone of doing it in America. And that's very tricky, and I'm not for it. I'm strongly against it. And I just want to note that our major corporations that are completely bottom line oriented and bottom line first, they regard America as an economy and not as a people, not as a homeland, not as a country, then that's the practices that happen, is they will do a mass round of layoffs with the anticipation that we're just going to import cheaper people to come here and do jobs that Americans would expect more. And Americans often deserve more because our families have roots here. They paid in the tax base. We have funded the economy with our lives. Think about how much, my children, for example, have already been a part of the economy in America. It's just from the lessons and from the food and from the vacations and the plane flights and all the things that we have to spend on them. They're a part of the economy. And so when they're of earning age, and they would get a tech job for $175,000 instead of $155,000, well, maybe they deserve it. Maybe that works out in a good way for the country, for the people who live here, rather than, well, we can get someone who's never been a part of America from the Far East, and we can bring them in here and they'll work for $155,000. Like, that is not right. We don't want that stuff. It should be severely limited, and only the truly excellent people, only the true rock stars who want to come here and live here and stay here and be a part of America's fabric. That's the only immigration we should be talking about right now. No other immigration at all, especially illegal immigration, which continues to be front and center. ICE has busted a illegal alien pedophile ring in Minneapolis. So just note this. So all of the times that you're seeing left-wingers who want to defund ICE, who want to shut down ICE, if you want to, all of the complaints about ICE that we've been seeing over the last couple of years, really it's been a few years, really since, I don't know, who's been the big defund ICE people? AOC, was she the one who started it? But whatever it is just know that ICE had just busted a pedophile ring. So this pedophile ring in Minneapolis with a child sex offenders would be alive, would be going strong unless ICE was there to start bringing people in. These arrests were done for over a 5-day period last month, and the DHS wrote in a press release. I love, there's so much SHIT posting going on now online. Under Tim Walz's leadership, these depraved individuals have been walking freely around Minneapolis with impunity, terrorizing American children. Brilliant from the Department of Homeland Security. Just run up the score, run it up. I love it. And just note that for all of the defund the ICE people, that's what they really want. What people are focused on now is not trying to help ICE enforce our immigrations and customs. What they're focused on now is they're trying to get ICE to mandate that that ICE agents do not have a mask on, even though that helps them for safety and also keeps their identities anonymous, which is, I think, useful because they're being targeted by the violent left. But this is what the Democrats and left are focused on, is trying to get ICE to be exposed so that they are less safe and so that they are more vulnerable for sustained harassment during their raid. So they just want things to be uncomfortable for them. And this is what's going on. Check this out.
Here's the thing. They are not going after criminals. They're going after anybody that is brown, that looks like me, that can't pass as what they say as a typical American.
Yeah. So that was, what was this guy's name again? He's a Democrat congressman, is a Jimmy Gomez. Jimmy Gomez is saying that they're going after all brown people. And this is on CNN. And this is what they're talking about on CNN. They get a congressman there, and couldn't even put a jacket on, go on CNN. got the old timey headphones that you plug in. It's just totally sloppy stuff, and his head's out of the frame. So just really sloppy. Anyway, the visuals are, this is not an impressive visual that's going on from Congressman Jimmy Gomez from California. But he's saying that we're going to just arrest all brown people. That's what we're doing. It is so toxic. This is what gets officers targeted. This is what gets officers hurt. This is the normalizing the climate of violence. These are smears. They're going after criminal illegal aliens, and they're rounding them up and they're sending them away because they shouldn't be here. Just note that the illegal aliens are the top priority for Democrats, particularly in California, but really throughout much of the country. And they think this is the hill they're going to die on. I want to play this again.
Here's the thing. They are not going after criminals. They're going after anybody that is brown, that looks like me, that can't pass as what they say is a typical American.
Yeah. So false. And all of this creates an environment where people are going to be more violent. I was talking about this I was on Pastor Alan Jackson's show on TBN yesterday, and this came up quite a bit. And the left is anticipating violence. They want violence. They want to get arrested. They don't want to govern. They don't want to lead. They've taken this posture now where it is not about leadership. It is not about trying to govern. It is trying to just be a thorn in the side of Trump and his administration. That's their number one goal, is to cause problems, even if that means causing problems for law enforcement so that we cannot enforce our laws. So just note that the deep partisan nature, their intransigent, their unwillingness to, it wasn't a missed opportunity for them with the big, beautiful bill with the narrow margin that Republicans had. Couldn't they have asked for more stuff? If they didn't all just have to stake out this posture that we will never support it, even though it will inevitably pass. But their audience, their core audience, the Jasmine Crockett audience, the MSNBC audience, they love the grandstanding because they believe that that is the key to a longevity in their movement, is to simply try to block Republicans, not ever work with them, which is fine. I get it. I don't want to work with Democrats, to be honest. But a part of it is because they're so unreasonable. It becomes a chicken and egg situation. But I think they missed an opportunity. I think that if they were savvier negotiators, they could have got some stuff for themselves in the big, beautiful bill. But instead, all they want to do is go around the world campaigning for their various causes to try to boost their popularity and not actually try to govern. And that's been what's happened in California, is that they don't do anything to help with the fires, with the tax rate, with the school system, with the homelessness, with the illegal aliens, with the crime, with the traffic. They don't do anything to help. All they do is try to stake out grandstands on behalf of aggrieved groups like the trans and the illegal aliens. So anyway, Trump this got brought up that the Democrats want to expose ICE, and let's hear what Trump had to say about it. The president of the United States.
And on one other subject, two Democratic senators now, Cory Booker and Alex Padilla, have a new bill out. They want to require CBP and ICE officers to have legible IDs, and they don't want CBP or ICE officers covering their faces.
So these were Cory, a.k.a. Spartacus Booker. I mean, the guy's the ultimate grandstander. All he does is pander to various groups. And Alex Padilla, also known as Jose Padilla. And guys, I'm willing to trade. You can refer to this as the Jose Marlow Show. We can do it that way. But no one knew who Alex Padilla was until he tried to get arrested. This is what I'm saying. There's a memo that went out, try to get arrested. The Democrats want to get arrested right now. They think this is the new civil rights movement with the ICE stuff. That's what they're trying to do. So, and now these Democrats, what they're focused on is not actually delivering anything for their constituencies. They just want to make more violence against ICE agents so that you know exactly who they are, so you can target them. Why else do they know exactly who these agents are? They're doing the work of this administration. They work for President Trump. They work for they work for the U.S. federal government.
Would you ever sign that?
Well, they wouldn't be saying that if they didn't hate our country. And they obviously do. I'm surprised that they would do it, knowing a little bit about them. I don't know them well. But these officers are doing a tremendous job. They're great patriots. If you expose them because of, statements like have been made by Democrats and others on the left, usually, mostly, I think probably exclusively, you put them in great danger, tremendous danger. And it's sort of funny when people picket in front of Columbia, in front of Harvard, and they have masks on, more than masks. I mean, you can't see anything. Nobody complains about that. But
Yeah, and of course the COVID stuff is big too. I mean, we all masked up for it was anti-science. The masking helped not at all. We all knew this from the very start that the masking was not going to work, and all the studies proved the masks were even more useless than we thought. I was under the impression from the start the masks were doing nothing, and maybe if you'd have perfectly fitted in 95, it could do a little bit, and then even that looked like it didn't even make much of a difference in the end. There was nothing. So it was the left loved masks when they were anti-science in the coronavirus. They love masks when you're a Columbia protester on behalf of Hamas, but they don't like masks when you are a federal government employee trying to enforce the law.
But when a patriot who works for ICE or Border Patrol puts a mask on so that they won't recognize him and his family, so they can lead a little bit of a normal life after having worked so hard and so dangerously, there's a problem with that. So they have this is the problem with the Democrats. They have a lot of bad things going on in their heads. They've really become they've lost their confidence, number one, and they've become somewhat deranged. I want to do whatever's necessary to protect our great law enforcement people, and they are right at the top of the list.
And your agriculture department also announced this week that they are going to start limiting Chinese ownership of American farmland. Why do you?
Yeah, we don't. That's great too. I mean, that's not related to the current conversation. That was just Peter Ducey who asked that question, which was a good question. Great answer from Trump. As I always say, his first drafts are always so good, which is why he's part of why he's so gifted in media. Is that his first effort to try to articulate something is generally pretty great. And they are pretty deranged, and they clearly don't like this country, and they only want this so that there will be violence against law enforcement. So Jose Padilla and Cory Booker are creating a climate of violence with this. And it's important that we call it like we see it, and we are blessed that we have Trump to do so. LA Mayor Karen Bass said we are now suing Trump over ICE raids. This is all they do. They're not doing anything with the rebuilding the Palisades. They're not doing anything to fix the fact that we can't use our public parks because the homeless have run them over. Our downtown is a mess. I was reminded the World Cup is next year. I mean, for the Olympics is 3 years away, but the World Cup is here in 2 years or in a year and a half. Next summer, a year. And we're not ready for that. Our highway system, our airport, our downtown, we're not ready for that. Newsom should help. He knows ingress and egress, right? Remember that clip? That was fun. Newsom's out there in South Carolina, as I mentioned, campaigning for president, not taking care of any of the stuff that needs to get done in preparation for the Olympics. By the way, the Olympics is going to be they're playing the golf in the Palisades, the Riviera Country Club. So all devastated. I don't understand why there's no urgency. I do understand because the Democrats don't care. I mean, we talked about this with Joel Pollack on my Fight Club show today, Breitbart Confidential, how the standard for being a successful Democrat politician is about grandstanding. It's not actually about having a longevity of a record of creating prosperity and creating accomplishment. Think about who their standard bearers have been. Barack Obama, half-term senator, Kamala Harris, half-term senator who was a bad vice president. You know, that's what they like. All right. So here's Newsom campaigning. Let's hear what he's got.
They're banning speech in classrooms, but also in the boardrooms. DEI, ESG, CRT, anything with 3 letters they seem to ban. DOJ, they got a problem with. FBI, IRS, EPA, you can just fill in the blanks. What we're experiencing is America in reverse.
Okay, so first of all, that was good delivery, but it is we don't like CRT because it's race Marxism. It's what it is, and we don't like the DEI stuff because that has gotten stuff where we get people like Ketanji Brown Jackson, who's making a fool of herself again in an 8-1 decision, which I'm sure you guys are caught up on at Breitbart. But it's the DEI stuff is not helpful to the country. It's not helpful to minorities because it just you end up questioning whether or not people got the job for DEI purposes or whether or not they got jobs because they earned it. So that's not good. So it's the thing about Ketanji Brown Jackson. I mean, she's a disgrace. She's a true dummy on our Supreme Court. We're just going to make fun of her forever. So But he just notable that he also says we're trying to ban speech. We're not trying to ban any speech, not trying to ban any books. It is, we want parents to be able to opt out of wokeness for their children. That's all we want. And that we don't want to force on them at school. It is such a process. I'll tell you that I sent Mrs. Dr. Marlow on a homework assignment because Master Marlow is going to come with me to this Turning Point event. And I said that, well, I got a lot of work to do. So, and he loves to read. So just go get him every book he wants. And he picked out some books, and most of them were fine in the ballpark, vetted. But he found a new series that had to do with dragons. And Miss Dr. Marlow hit the bid on it because, it seems sort of like a young guy likes dragons. Like sounds pretty normal. And then I looked it up. It's just something gave me the impression that maybe this is not pure. And I looked it up, and lo and behold, somewhere down the line in the series, they have a non-binary character. This stuff designed for 3rd to 8th graders. So he's heading into 2nd grade, but he's a little advanced for his reading level. 3rd to 8th graders, and there's a non-binary character that's introduced later in the series. Is it the end of the world? No, but it's why do I have to have that conversation with my 1st grader about non-binary characters? I don't want to. I have no interest in that. I want to do that on my timeline when they're older. So that's the whole thing, is that, and it's not on every page, it's not in the beginning of the series, but you give the woke left enough time and they're eventually going to try to corrupt the youth. Is what they do. They like that chaos and they want to interfere in family life. All right, let's hear more from Newsom.
What we're experiencing is America in reverse. They're trying to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. On voting rights, you know it well, civil rights, LGBTQ rights, women's rights.
Okay, first of all, stop lumping in the T's with the L's and the G's. We don't care about the L's and the G's, and we don't care about the B's. We don't care. If adults want to be L's and G's and B's, we moved on. We're not talking about that stuff anymore. So it's not a part of the conversation. We're talking about the T's. The T's are the problems. The T's are the ones that are ruining women's sports. They're the ones that are causing all the confusion. They're completely anti-science. They're causing mass amounts of chaos. And the people who go T are not any happier. They continue to be depressed. So, and you could not help with the left taking an inch and then trying to take a mile by getting the T stuff into the classroom, like the aforementioned they, them, non-binary character in the children's books. So the other thing is, it's so offensive that he's acting like we are, it's so offensive that acting like we want to eliminate voting rights. The implication, because he's in South Carolina, James Clyburn's there, he's surrounded by black people, that we don't want black people to vote. No, we're going to win over black people. It's our movement, the conservative movement, we are determined that we're going to prove that our side is more to offer the black community. It's just so offensive to even phrase it that way. But we're going to be the best for them. That's what we want. We don't want to take anyone's voting rights away. We would like to take the rights of illegal aliens from voting, and we would like to make it so that you have to have a voter ID so you can't cheat. That's what we want. But it's so dishonest, and the dishonesty is what actually gets him currency in his party. It is not the honesty. Honesty does not help. Being reasonable doesn't help. Remember, he tried to have reasonable conversations for a couple of weeks in his podcast with Republicans, and he got less popular. So he's calculating. He knows what he's trying to do. Let's hear a little more.
And not just, access to abortion, but also access to simple reproductive care, contraceptions. You saw what they just...
When did we want to block access to contraception? Misty, I'm putting you on the case. You're gonna have to look into this for me, because I just... When did we say we don't want you to have access to contraception? What is he talking about? We don't think every abortion is great, unlike the standard for the Democrat Party.
Just did the Planned Parenthood. It's a moment that few of us could have imagined, and I know we were concerned about this moment. We were out there campaigning, expressing concern about this moment. I come from a small state on the west coast of the United States. Our state of mind is pretty simple. We're the most un-Trump state in America. That's a point of pride. I confess that. If you didn't know that, just want to let you in on a little secret. I'm not his favorite politician in the country.
All right, that's good enough. So he's campaigning in South Carolina while his state rots and is out of money. Okay, good stuff. But this is I guess the best they have to offer, because if you don't get someone like Newsom who can at least clean himself up, then what are you going to get? You're going to get people like this person who you're going to miss. If you're missing the visuals here, then you're not getting the full experience. Check this out.
Hello, it's the Master. The reason I have red lipstick on is because I'm at the demonstration in Traverse City. There are thousands of us. And red lipstick, I was informed.
So this is a man with a goatee and a ball cap, and he's wearing women's glasses and red lipstick. So this is and I guess he's in Michigan. And I don't know what he's protesting exactly. It doesn't matter, but just know he's a left-wing person. He thinks we're all Nazis. He's going to get there in a second. And a man wearing red lipstick, and this is what is supposed to be appealing from the left. This is what they have to offer. We're offering a incredible economy, and we are offering bombing the bad guys and destroying their nuclear capabilities. We are offering fun, patriotism, and they're offering this stuff.
Last night by my friend Jen was a form of resistance when Hitler was trying to take over the world. He didn't like women wearing red lipstick. So I've decided red lipstick. Everybody put on red lipstick to show resistance against you know who. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Over and out.
Thank you for the content. Thank you. Nice pull, Misty. Very good. Very good. We love it. We love the content. We love the red lipstick content here. And that's what they're offering. Liz Peek, who I think she's at Fox and writes for The Hill. I was just on Kudlow's radio with her recently. She flagged this thing I saw from Axios. A strikingly favorable economic and financial market backdrop is empowering the president in his aggressive use of trade policy. Economic market and policy developments have been a wind at the president's back in the last 2 months. So Trump is resetting our economy. He's resetting global trade. He's exceeding all expectations. And a lot of people are buying into what he's doing, which is why markets are super high level right now. So he has incredible opportunity to create prosperity for a lot of people. That's what's happening. And it is what they have to offer is so little by comparison. Also, this is great news. There's only so much I can say about it, but the FBI has launched an investigation into John Brennan and James Comey over the Trump-Russia probe, which they were clearly dishonest and trying to cook that up because it was rooted in nothing. And we need to have a deeper investigation of it. We just do. And it's not something we've gotten around to doing. And this is a lot of what I talk about in Breaking the Law. I try to direct people. This is going to be a big theme of what I talk about on the show when it comes out in just 3 weeks away. It's coming up. Is pointing out where we should be doing the investigations. And there has not been any justice for all these people who use lawfare, who use the weaponization of government against Donald Trump. There has not been any effort to try to hold those people accountable. It's been very, very slim. So think about how the efforts that they went to hold Trump accountable for nothing, for fraudulent things that he never did, trying to bust him on RICO in Georgia, where he was not running a criminal racketeering enterprise, trying to bust him for the undervaluing his real estate when he wasn't doing that. The list of things that they falsely accused Trump of doing is so long. And now we've got these guys dead to rights concocting a hoax to try to subvert the will of the American people, try to completely destroy his first administration. It was election interference heading into 2020 as well. Like they are operating, and it is all election interference what they did, and none of them been held accountable. So it's good to see the investigations starting to take place. All right, I want to do a quick flood update for you. We have moved, I guess, we're starting to move on from blaming Trump, not quite totally gone. Jasmine Crockett got in there, started to blame Trump. Let's see what she had to say.
So anyway, I just wanted to jump on because my heart is truly heavy for all of these families. The sad part is I think that my heart is going to carry a level of weight that will continue to weigh me down as we have to continue to do our best to survive. And
she's got nothing. She's 22 seconds in. She's ran out of stuff to say. She's just filibustering. That's pretty good. We should get her on a talk show. Let's see if she could sit in front of a microphone for 45 minutes. Try to be interesting. I'm struck, of course, by her invoking herself. Me, my heart. Why is she talking about herself? Why isn't she talking about all these families that have lost their lives and lost their children and will never be whole again? Instead, she's talking about herself and her heart. That's a supreme level of narcissism, to go there right away within seconds. Oh, this really affects me a lot. It doesn't affect you at all. Who is surrounding her? Does anyone tell her this stuff? Let's play this again so you can get the full breadth of this.
So anyway, I just wanted to jump on because my heart is truly heavy for all of these families. The sad part is, I think that my heart is going to carry a level of weight that will continue to weigh me down as we have to continue to do our best to survive an administration that literally is against us. An administration that is doing everything, in my mind, to hurt us and not help us. And it feels like we're fending for ourselves.
And now she's on to Trump. So I'm hurt, and it's Trump's fault. So it's just not a great. They just don't have anything. But now Barbara Streisand has moved on to blaming climate change. Some of the left is picking this up as well. So we knew we would get there, but they would first try to blame Trump marginal cuts in parts of the government that weren't working, and we were spending excessively on things that weren't working, like FEMA, which was deeply corrupted, as we've gone through numerous times, and trying to act like that's what created the flood and the mass deaths that took place. And then you get the folks who are going to go to climate change, and they did the thing at CNN that they always do, and it's just such a trap for them. They always do this. They got Bill Nye out there. Bill Nye, who is not a scientist. He's not an expert in this. He's a mouthpiece for the Green New Scam movement. And he was a children's show host. He has nothing to do with science. He's no degrees. He's no expertise at all, other than he hosted a children's show. And yet they had him out there blaming the climate. Check this out.
So just that last part of what we were describing, you keep hearing once in a lifetime, once in 100 years, once in 1,000 years. At this point, it's not anymore. It's just where we are with the climate and the environment.
Oh, that's, as we like to say, our side of it, the science side of it. This is exactly what was predicted. It's very difficult to tie any one weather event to climate change. However, the warm weather events are actually easier to tie to climate change. And so the other problem that happened in the hill country in Texas is this business of the Balcony escarpment, where the air mass got lifted. So it spread out and the rain came down even faster.
Oh, what a brilliant explanation. I totally followed that completely. This is also, he was a guy who did, he was a big math guy also. So the pro-science guy, but he gets the science wrong all the time. And he just tried to suggest that this had something to do with climate change. But if you look at it, the deaths from flooding in Texas have been going down decade after decade, but that doesn't come up. This is Dana Bash in the interview. She doesn't care. She's trying to get Democrats elected. Let's see if Bill Nye gets any more interesting.
But it'll happen again, to your point. And everybody's talked about this for years. And the technologies for warning systems exist. You know, where people have tidal or tsunami events, these sort of warning systems can be put up. But you got to get to higher ground very quickly. And the point that I believe was being made in the moment in the video a moment ago was the mass of the water. A 20-foot high mass of water in a half hour is you can't just float your way out of it.
Yeah.
It knocks everything over. Everybody knows you pick up a bucket of water, you know how heavy it is, and you get a lot of water going that fast. So, what are we going to do about it?
We knew nothing. This guy was a government creation also. Just know that he was a PBS guy. So the government-funded PBS network is what created that guy and imposed him upon us. And the children, Bill Nye the Science Guy, no thanks. So but just the thought that they would do this, it's so ghoulish. It's so grotesque. All right, legacy media is so bad, so bad. And, you know, they've tried to stop you from accessing shows like this one, and they do that by limiting spectrum available to consumers like you to access shows like this. And they've even tried to absurdly call this a national defense issue. It's them limiting this show so you can get access to Bill Nye. No thanks. Trump isn't buying it, neither Senator Cruz. That's why in the big, beautiful bill, Republicans heard your voice and are providing more spectrum. What does this mean for you? It can reduce your monthly broadband bill, and it can preserve your ability to watch, listen, and stream the content you choose. Not what's chosen for you by some cable provider or the U.S. government. The sale of this spectrum will also generate billions to reduce our national debt. Don't let cable providers and legacy media continue to filter your information. Tell your senator and member of Congress to work with Senator Ted Cruz and President Donald J. Trump to expand spectrum and end the legacy media monopoly for good. Learn more at endthecableopoly.org. That's endthecableopoly.org. Great sponsors. Great sponsors. You got to check it out, guys. It helps me quite a bit, and you're going to learn a lot if you go over there. Okay, a few other items to round things out for today that are on my mind. Trump's sending more money to Ukraine, and I was trying to figure out what's going on. Not money, weapons to Ukraine. And I was asking my team, like, why do we think he's doing this? Is this the new forever war? And Frances Martell, our world editor, quickly said that he thinks it has to do with BRICS. She said it has to do with BRICS, that Trump is not happy with some of these BRICS nations and their effort to which Putin is a part. I mean, Russia's a huge part of this, and trying to oppose America's dominance on the international stage. And Putin is just being difficult. I think Trump thought that he could get a win with brokering that peace with Ukraine and Russia. That has not happened yet. And so Trump is now responding by giving Ukraine some more weaponry, which is interesting. Some audio that is going around. There's some book that's out on 2024 saying that I got to figure out the name of the book because it's unfair, but it might be called 2024. But anyway, Trump apparently claimed he told Putin, I'm going to bomb the SHIT out of Moscow at one point. So Trump can play hardball. He was playing nice with Putin and it wasn't going anywhere. So now he's sending weapons to Ukraine. So I thought I would flag that to you because it doesn't seem totally as crazy as it looked. The initial headline I found disturbing, but it seems like there's a logic to it. Putin's not playing nice and Trump wanted that thing over, and if Putin's not going to help, then Trump might get tougher. So we'll see how that goes. Biden's former doctor is refusing to answer questions in a House Republican probe. This is the White House physician is being requested to give information about Joe Biden's health because of the House Oversight Committee looking into it now, which we've discussed on the show with Congressman Comer. And we'll discuss this again. So Dr. Kevin O'Connor invoked doctor-patient privilege and his right under the Fifth Amendment during a closed-door interview with the House Oversight Committee. Really interesting, the Fifth Amendment part. So I'll start the doctor-patient privilege part. That's why I don't think we're actually going to get answers about Joe Biden from a doctor about his health. I think we're going to we've got to bring everyone in, get everyone to testify, get everyone under oath, on the record, saying what they knew, when they knew it, all that stuff. Let's investigate it all. Let's figure out all the auto pen stuff, figure all that out. But that said, I don't think we're going to get a lot out of the doctor because of doctor-patient privilege. But I'm struck by him using the Fifth Amendment, that he's fearing that he could incriminate himself. I mean, maybe Fifth Amendment because that would be a legal HIPAA violation or something. Interesting stuff, but I'm glad that we're digging and we got to keep getting to the bottom of it. But as to be expected, we're not getting cooperation from Biden's doctor. One other thing I wanted to flag, I saw this from the Unusual Whales account on X, the Everything app, which is it covers a lot of financial stuff, noting the top unemployment rates for graduates by major from Business Insider. They did a survey. And second place is physics. First is anthropology. I don't know what an anthropology major, what sort of job you would do with that. So that seems to make sense. But physics, 7.8%, and computer engineering at 7.5%. Commercial art, graphic design, 7.2%. Fine arts at 7%. That's not a surprise. But the computer science in the top 10 at 6.1%. So one of these things where a lot of these jobs of the future are not actually jobs of the future. A lot of these jobs of the future are actually becoming jobs of the past, because you might be getting a skill that is not actually applicable in the workforce, and AI is going to replace a lot of these jobs. So, and a lot of these companies are trying to not pay Americans American rates. They want to import other people and drive down your rates. So just note that you got to be very diligent. You got to move on your feet. And we had to have a longer conversation about this with young people who are getting pushed into STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, which seems like it's a better bet than a lot of other majors, but overall, it is a lot of unemployment from these areas, and it surprised me a little bit when I saw that, and I wanted to bring that to your attention. Worthy of more time, but I think that's good for now. That is today's show. Thank you very much to producer Misty. Thank you to all of you in the audience for telling 10,000 friends and family members about the show. Make sure to subscribe so I get to the top of your feed, or hit like or follow, whatever it is, so that you get all the latest shows sent right to you without you having to do the extra work. Appreciate that. I'll talk to you tomorrow.